Hello, welcome back to another Web Dev Office Hours, where today we are going to be getting back into our testing stuff. If you have been around for the last couple, you kind of know where we're going. If you haven't, we're looking into playing with Vitest and Cypress to create tests for a weather app that we built, but the app is not so important. We're just going to be looking at testing. If during the stream you feel like you saw something cool or interesting, or I taught you something you didn't know, or you're just feeling generous, check out the link over there in the bottom left. And you might make a donation to rescue.org, specifically towards the humanitarian aid for Ukrainian refugees that have been displaced due to war. I would really appreciate that. Cool. And in the meantime, if you're tired of hearing about war, we can learn about some testing stuff. So where we were yesterday, let me bump this up a bit. Where we ended up yesterday, we have this file that has two classes for us. One, it creates a cookie object from a string or object that looks like a cookie. And we can, don't know if we can actually do much with it, but then we can call a method called toHeader, which generates the string representation of that cookie. So we'll have domain path, name expires, the name and the value, things like that. I feel like this should actually return undefined. Maybe, but that's fine for now. And then we have this other one that can take either a string or, well, I guess just a string that looks like a cookie, a string of cookies, plural, keys and values, or names and values. And it can add or remove or get different values for those cookies and then go back and generate that cookie string, which might be hard to understand unless you have watched the other parts of this stream. But anyway, we don't need to worry about it too much. What we are going to get into is creating tests that test different functionality of these classes. So here what I have is I've got some randomly generated names and values that I'm using to create this cookie. So let's copy this test. And let's say that when I have a cookie, I also want to be able to pass in a random path. So something like, oops. I want this and this to say path. And that's going to cover this use case. Move that down below. I will be doing set header, I suppose. Or toHeader. Cool. So what I need here is the path. So this is going to give me a URL, which I don't know if that's actually what I want. Domain name, URL. I want a random path. So let's see here. Faker.internet. So Faker is a JavaScript library that can generate large amounts of random data for us. So I want to look at their documentation, actually. Oops. Let's go with Faker.js. Faker.js.dev is the website that I want. Let's do the guide, the API, internet. What is a domain name? Gets me the actual domain name. The suffix is the top level domain name. Okay. Domain word. That's weird. What other options do I have? I guess I just need a random domain word. It should be fine. So that's going to be something that looks like part of a domain. Let me see. Let me update path. It's going to be domain word. Random path is going to be string, start with a slash, and then a random domain word. There we go. That should look good. Let's make sure our tests are running. So npm run test. That's going to start Vitest. And Vitest starts in a watch mode by default. So any changes I make, it will update as I hit save. Same site. We're just going to ignore that error message. I wonder if the Faker folks could actually use some help with this randomize to return a same site should be oh yeah, because same site wants to be a union. So I wonder if Faker could be helped to return a union instead of a string. Who knows? What I'm working on though, getting back to the code, is here. I want a random path. Path. And then we're testing max age, expires time. There we go. All that just so I can save a couple moments in copying and pasting that. Okay, there's my path. Oh, that's domain. I want domain to be correct. I want my custom path to have a slash in it. And then that looks good to me. Let's hit save. That's complaining. Nope, no longer complaining. Cool. That's running 31 passing tests, so that means we did it correctly. Next, we need the date. So I feel like I could save a lot of these time by just generating a bunch more of this random stuff up front. So I think I'm going to do that. Okay, this looks good. This looks good. What I want to do is take some of these things out. So random domain. And let's just do that once at the beginning of this test so we never have to do it again. Same with random path. Cut those out, paste them up here. Okay, random path is working. Random expires. So the reason we're doing this is so I don't need to write these twice. I'm actually going to do this and say random same site. Take that out. Okay, we've got same site. Now here, decode value. Okay, this is fine. Right, we want to use a URL here because we want to make sure that this encoding actually modifies it. And if we just do a random value that we had before, we may not have the characters in there that actually get encoded. So this ensures that we actually have something to encode. Cool. Everything else I think is looking pretty good. Random domain. Random domain. We should have, yeah, somewhere else. Cool. So here we can save a little bit of effort by getting rid of that. And then random path we already covered. And then we want an expires. Random expires, that should be good. We're done with that. It's the domain. This is going to be the path. This is going to be expires. I probably could have just done all of this, but whatever. Done all of it in one test. This is a little bit more explicit. Okay, so here we're going to do max age, and this one should be random max age. Okay, we did not pull random max age out before. We're going to take that. And that should go after expires. Cool. Come back down here. It looks like random max age is fine. We've got max age. We want to set HTTP only. This should be HTTP only. Save, check our tests. Okay, random expires. Okay, we're expecting it to be. And here we have a difference. Which I think makes sense. So let's see where it's being used. Expires should be able to accept a date. Yeah, and this should expect it to be to UTC string. Thanks for catching that. Looks like that's fixed now. HTTP only we've got. This should be now secure. That. And I think we already did same site, right? No, we did not do same site. So we're going to do one more. Same site. Same site equals random same site. Cool. Okay, we have an issue here. Okay, we have an issue here. We have same site. Am I spelling same site incorrectly? I bet that's the problem. For my cookies, same site is one word. That's the problem. So weep. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, looks like it. Cool. So that makes sense. And of course, that means our tests are passing again. And now we just have one more test suite, and then we're done with this. With this whole test. Man, that is a long test file. So what we want to do, I think, is check that the set cookie to header prints the cookie string. And I wonder if I can do this. Just get rid of all that and then say cookie dot name equals name1 and cookie dot value equals value1 and expect that to be name1 and value1. No, because that is not how it works. Actually, that is how it works. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can go through and set everything. Oops, let's do cookie dot domain equals random domain, cookie dot path equals random path. Help me out here. Cookie dot expires, random expires, cookies dot max age, HTTP only, secure, same site, and that's going to complain again because it's expecting a union, not a string. So let's just quick fix that and ignore it because that actually is correct. I'm going to hit save so that my test will run because I'm being lazy. And by being lazy, I can actually just, oh, I guess I can't copy all that. That's annoying. Ooh, Vitest. I should be able to console log here. And I don't think I can. It's running my tests. I'm not. Oh, I am seeing a console log. Okay. Interesting. Oh, that is cool too. Okay, that maybe. Where's the cookie to the string? That's cool because it actually tells me where I'm running that log. So I'm gonna grab this. All of this effort to avoid just a little bit of manual labor. Okay, so there's my cookie. Let's copy that. Let's, and all of that manual labor. It was all for nothing because now I have to do it anyway. Okay, domain equals you gonna help me here? Path is going to be random path expires is going to be random expires dot to UTC string next page random max age HTTP only same site or secure and then random same site. That's what I expect. And it looks like it's working. So that's it for the test on this on this file. I'm going to run a coverage test now, npm run coverage, so we can see if we're missing any coverage on that file. So this is going to take a little bit longer. Okay, 37 pass test. Of course, we kind of knew that already. And I'm still logging, which I don't want to be doing. Yep, don't want that. Cool. So now we have really good coverage. We have two lines that are uncovered, line 8 and 83. And that is going to be one branch and one function, it looks like. So line 8. Line 8. Not sure how I would test that really. I guess what I could do since I can pass in a parameters object with this decode, I could pass in like a spy and then just spy that this is being run when it gets passed in. Otherwise, it doesn't. I'm not going to worry about that. That's fine by me. And then 83, I think, was the other line, right? So if there's not a name and not a value, we expect it to return an empty string, and this is my set cookie. So, and then we're going to say here, exact same thing. Returns an empty string if there is no name or value. So we're going to give the cookie everything, cookie 1. That's going to be cookie 1 to header to be an empty string. And then we're going to make a second cookie right here. We're going to say this is cookie 2. And cookie 2 is going to have a name and none of these other values. And then cookie 3 is okay. Cookie 3 is going to only have a value. And then we can say cookie 4 is the one that actually passes. We'll have a name and a value. And we expect that to be name 1, value 1. Cool. Let's run that coverage report one more time. Look at that, 33 tests for this one. And the next one, we've got cookies, we've got create response. HTTP request is going to be the next one. So we're going to get into some mocking stuff, I think. Oops. There we go. Cool. We did cover that one test case where it doesn't print anything, or the, I guess, the branch. So it's interesting that we're still getting, oh no, we covered the branch. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess having that function and branch, I don't know. But I'm pretty happy with this. It looks really green. So next one, we're going to say that that's done. Next one, I'm going to, do I want to copy this? Oh yeah, it really doesn't like that I'm not passing in arguments. What is this complaining about? Headers deny reason. Status number is missing the following properties from status numbers, headers, keys. Okay, I think this should be optional. And if I save that as optional, we're done with you. We're still getting some errors because that's optional, that's optional, that's optional, and this is optional. Oh, is that not a, must have a type notation. Okay. I think that's good. I think that should fix it. Looks like it did. Create response. We definitely want the first parameter is not optional. So do a quick fix and just ignore that. That fixes the TypeScript yelling at us, and that's looking good. Cool. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. And then we need a test file here. So we're going to add index.test.js. Kind of want to copy some of this stuff. So let's go rip, whoop. And this is actually going to be testing HTTP response, I think. No, HTTP request. Request, right? Export const HTTP request. Cool. So now we have an interesting conundrum because we are importing a package called node fetch. And if I try to run something, it's actually going to pass that request on to fetch. So I need to mock this behavior of node fetch. And I have not done this with Vitest yet. So let's see what we can do. Faker I will still keep. Describe and all that I will still keep. So let's say describe HTTP request. Sure, that's fine by me. And now what I need to do is go to vitest.dev. And it looks like they fixed the website since the last time I was up. So API, and I want to say mock. So let's see, makes all imports to past module to be mock. I think what I want to do is something like, how do I do this? vi.mock, okay. So let's take vi, right? That's a thing. Yes, Vitest utils. And we're going to say vi.mock node fetch. Okay, cool. That was really pretty helpful. Okay, that seems like a lot. So this shouldn't actually be a jest function. I think I want to do vi function. Is that a thing? It is. Cool. So that should look something like just function. And we're going to say this. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. Const mock fetch is equal to a vi function. Is there like an async function? No. So it's a just function that mock resolved value is undefined, I guess. Like I'm really just testing that whatever it's passed to HTTP request gets passed to this mock fetch. So I'm basically creating a fake function. I don't think I even need that. Just a fake function. And when this node fetch library is imported, this mock is going to take over, in theory. It's going to inject this as the returned value, which has a default export, which is where node fetch is going to come from as the default. That's going to be assigned here. And then I expect global fetch to be this fake function. Hopefully that you were able to follow that. It makes sense in my head. Okay, so faker, await, yes, expect response URL. Let's see, log response. And then let's console log mock fetch and just leave it at that. Cool. So npm run test. All right. Cannot access mock fetch before initialization. Oh, that's the worst sort of thing. So let's see. Mock module. Okay. Auto mocking algorithm. Yeah. I recommend mock service worker. Oh, this is interesting. So I can use mock service worker to intercept that request. I may have to look into this. I may have to look into this. That's pretty cool. In the meantime, though, I still want to make sure that when I call HTTP request with a URL, that my mocked request is like node fetch is essentially being mocked. So let's try this. Let's do return that. Is a vi.fn, sure. We don't have that. So let's try it this way. What are you going to do? Response.url, you don't know what that is. That's fine. Okay. And I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to import node fetch from node fetch, and I'm going to actually log what node fetch is. We've got the response, and then we've got node fetch. So let's see what this is going to tell me. Perfect. That's actually what I wanted. This is exactly what I wanted. I want node fetch. Yeah. So what's going on here is because I'm telling Vitest to mock node fetch, when it runs into node fetch here, it's basically going to replace this import with whatever I return from this function, which I'm saying is an object with a default export, quote unquote, that it returns a mocked Vitest function. So we don't need that. So then the same thing happens when I import it over here. And what I can do is I can use that node fetch instance, which actually is a mocked sort of spy. And yeah, I can see the calls that were made. So I can say when I call HTTP requests with the URL, I expect node fetch dot. Well, let me do this. Const. What was that? That's not what I want. Const calls equals node fetch dot calls. So that is going to give me any, apparently. It doesn't realize that calls is an array of arrays, two-dimensional array. Each one of these entries, let me copy this over here so we can actually see it. Looks like this. So each one of these entries, let's see, the outer array represents each time that the node fetch library was called. So in our case, we're executing it once, so it's only being called once. And then the interior array represents the arguments that were passed to that execution. So I'm going to say the whatever first call args equals node fetch dot call at 0. And then I expect the first call arguments and that first argument to equal URL. Our test should be running. And it's passing. That's great. And because this is such a simple a simple interface or a simple module, there really isn't anything more to test. We're creating a function that takes a single parameter and passes that parameter to fetch. Now we may want to build this out because this actually doesn't currently match the tech docs, built-in modules. It does not currently match the HTTP request module because this should actually take a URL and then a number of options that look like method, headers, body, timeout. Is that it? Method, headers, body, timeout? I suppose so. So let's at least kind of add some of this in. URL is going to be a string or a URL, I think. Just a string. Right, well, we'll just keep that looking the same. So just a string. And then the options. Yo, what's up? Hamon Holmgren? Homie? What's going on? We're doing some testing with Vitest. I just covered mocking. So let me finish writing this out just really quick. Hyman. Jamin. Jamin. Jamin? Jamin Holmgren. Holmgren. I'm just butchering it today. I apologize. You'll have to forgive me. Cool. What's going on? What'd you stop in for today? Just checking it out or trying to learn some testing stuff? Out on Twitter and decided to stop by. I love you for that. Is HTTP method a thing? Doesn't look like it. So yeah, let me finish this up really quick. Just so we have string. That should be a string. What are you saying? Body should be a string. Cool. Headers, I guess this can be a record. String. Cool. That is fine. We're just going to ignore that for now. So, yes, you see JSDoc. I absolutely love JSDoc. Not a big fan of writing TypeScript or looking at TypeScript or reading TypeScript, but I am a big fan of the benefits of having strongly typed JavaScript, and JSDoc is my flavor for it. So yeah, what we're doing today is getting into some testing stuff. I'm basically building, both is good. I don't mind TypeScript if I have to jump into a TypeScript project either, but given the option, I prefer JSDoc. So yeah, I've been building this project that is Yeah, I like it because I particularly like. Let's see, one of the things that was coolest about JS Doc was when I jumped into a regular JavaScript project, and I don't have to worry about like getting the team on board to including TypeScript or like migrating to TypeScript or anything like that. I can just kind of start getting productive with the work that I need to do and not be too disruptive. And then ideally start bringing other people onto the team into the mix by, them seeing the value of it. It's really cool. I actually have a little article um, about it. Might as well use this as a time to plug it. Oh, where is it? Yeah, easing people for sure. So, boop, boop, boop. There it is. Yeah, if you're interested. I mean, probably doesn't sound like something you are really going to benefit from. You already know what's up. But anyway, getting into what I've been working on, I've got this project. Are you familiar with, have you been watching any of the stuff I've been working on? Let's see. We have npm run dev. So I've got this like fake, what is it? It's basically a fake edge worker. So Akamai, I guess a couple things. Let's back up here. I wanted to build a forecasting app because I got tired of all of the apps that are just like covered with ads and they can be super slow. So I wanted to build one that was really fast. So the way it's built is using the Open Weather API, and then it uses Akamai Edge Workers. So if you're not familiar, Akamai Edge Workers, yeah, thanks. Um, Akamai Edge Workers are edge compute servers. So if you're not familiar with that, it's basically a custom JavaScript runtime that's deployed to like 250,000 locations around the world. So in a traditional server, you have a request that like a user comes to your website, the DNS looks up where the IP, CDN, but can run scripts exactly. So the idea here is like if we can run the request from as close to as close to the user as possible, it still has to go to the Open Weather API, but that saves us a request from going to like our server, which could potentially be halfway around the world, and then to the Open Weather API, then back to our server, then back to the user. Right now, because it's at a CDN location right next to the user, it goes user, tiny little hop over to Edge server, over to Open Weather API, comes back, and then goes back to the user. So saves us some time in network latency. And then some of the other cool stuff that we did was, well, I didn't want to have to deploy this app to edge workers every time I want to push a change. So what I did was I created a little server here with Node that basically fakes it. So it takes a node, standard node request, converts it into an edge worker object. And that's the other cool thing is edge workers will actually tell you like where the request is coming from. So the user doesn't have to provide their information because edge workers knows where the server location is. So it'll actually inject the user location object. Well, it calls it user location object, but it's actually the server location, which in theory is close to the user, but may not be exact. Anyway, long story short, I recreate an edge worker, and because Node doesn't have access to that information, we use Faker.js, and Faker.js will inject a fake city, a fake state, and a fake country. But it allows us to write code that will work the same way it behaves on edge workers, if that's clear. So yeah, we can. Edge workers gives us information about the device. Most of this stuff we have to randomly generate because we don't know it from the node server. Same with the user location. And then it just passes that information on to the actual source code. So the source code just looks like this. You have to export a function. There's a couple different like life cycle functions you can use. Here I'm using the response provider function or named export. We grab some variables. This is, again, a mocked functionality that exists within edge workers, but we're kind of faking it here. This faked implementation just uses env variables. And then what do? We get the location. We do a couple things. We want to check the location if the user has done a search for a location. So like where I live, Portland, Oregon, right? If the user does a search, I want to grab that location from the query, right? So cool, we get the weather for Portland, Oregon. And then you live in Vancouver. Oh shit, we should hang out sometime. Yeah, once we get some of the in-person meetups, looking forward to those. Can't wait. But yeah, so we prefer the location coming from the query. That takes precedence because if someone does a search, of course, that should be what they get in response. If they don't do a search, we can actually pull the location from, let's see, there should be, oh yeah, if they don't have a search, then we'll also check if the cookie has been set. So now that I've done a search for Portland, Oregon, I set that cookie in my browser, and if I start over again, I'm not going to get randomly generated data. I'm going to get information from the cookie. So whatever your most recent search was, we'll just assume that that's where you want the information to come from. And if we don't do that, if we don't have a query and we don't have a cookie, let's clear that out, boop. Then what the code does is it pulls the location information from that user location object. And then let's see, we have to get some information about their geolocation. So I'm actually using another API called GeoAppify. And the reason why we need the geolocation is because that way we can do the weather API call. And then we basically just build out an HTML page and return it to the user like that. Yeah, having a fallback for location. Yeah, it's super cool because then you're like, it's actually really cool. Like you could do, there's a lot of interesting use cases for knowing where the request is coming from. You could like ban someone from a specific country. VPNs would be able to get around that if you wanted. You could customize language from a certain country. So I have an example where I do like just a hello world, but it says hello or hola or bonjour, whatever, depending on where the request comes from. So anyway, all this to say, built this app, pretty cool. I'm happy with it. It's kind of fun. If you want to go back, all of the live streams are on YouTube as well. And we did a lot with accessibility. We got into like a screen reader. Akamai is the host of the service. Yeah. Well, actually, I still haven't deployed it. But yeah, I'm going to deploy it and host it there. What else do we do? Oh, we do some performance stuff. So all of these images, they come through, they're like lazy loaded. So it'll only download the images that are on page. Yeah. And then if I clear that out and I like get a different image, that request comes in on demand. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, accessible. Yeah, I would recommend watching the old stream because we use NVIDIA screen reader. Oh, that's going to give me the NVIDIA stock prices. NVDA reader. Yeah, so we use this screen reader, and I basically am able to navigate this entire app without the mouse, and it reads to me things like, all of the information. I can navigate like from the header to the location to this card title to the next card title to the next card title, and then I can get down into each of these dates. That was pretty fun. And then the other thing is it reads some other stuff, like it reads this title, this table cell or table header, instead of reading it like thermometer feels like, we actually like hide that from the screen reader, so it just reads feels like. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I don't know. I think it's fun. Accessibility. So that was the app that we built, but none of the stream that I'm working on the last few days is actually building it out. I think it's feature complete. So what I'm working on now is getting into writing some unit tests with Vitest. At least for now, I'm using Vitest. And then once I'm done with the unit tests, then I'll move into the end-to-end tests. But oh shoot, I'm actually at time and I have to jump off to do another live stream, which I'll be back on here in half an hour because we have a podcast and we're going to record an episode of the podcast. But anyway, Damon, pleasure to have chatted with you. Let's definitely connect. If you're on Twitter, I guess you are on Twitter, hit me up. And yeah, I'm doing this stream every day at 3 p.m. So hopefully I'll see you in the future. All right. Catch you later.